Hey friends, welcome to Challenge One. My name is Mrs. Tofty and I get to be your director this year. So I wanted to start out talking about 4 big ideas about Challenge One. You can see those 4 big ideas represented in some pictures here. We have 1461 and fireworks, a 3-legged stool, and the number 2. So let's see what these ideas have to do with Challenge One. First, we have the number 1461, and perhaps this is a year in which something really exciting happened, or maybe a reference to a Bible passage, chapter 14, verse 61. In reality, 1461 represents the number of days that you will be in high school. And I know that number seems pretty big right now, but those days are going to fly by, which is why we want to take some counsel from Moses, who writes in Psalm chapter 90, verse 12, "So teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom." Why do you think numbering our days helps us to get wisdom? Well, I think that God is trying to remind us that we need to be intentional about every moment that we spend. And so when it comes to Challenge One, we really want to bring our A game. We want to give all that we have and all that we are because the days are short and we want to make them count. Next, we have this picture of fireworks. And I love the 4th of July because we get to celebrate the freedoms that we enjoy here in America. Let's take a look at our Challenge One theme. Discipline is the cornerstone of freedom. Discipline is the cornerstone of freedom. So let's break this down. The word discipline comes from the same root word as the word disciple. And a disciple is a learner or a follower. So think about the disciples of Jesus. They literally followed him around and watched where he walked and watched how he talked, and they learned from him. And we want to do the same. So as we are discovering truth about math and science and history and literature, we want to filter those things through the truth. We want to be learners and followers of wherever Jesus leads us. Well, the theme says that discipline is the cornerstone. A cornerstone is the very first stone that a mason lays when he's laying the foundation for a building, and everything else depends on that cornerstone. That's how important this discipline is to what we're doing. If we really want to get to the point where we can live free and abundant lives, we have to discover discipline. So let's talk about freedom. We can have freedom from physical slavery or mental bondage or spiritual oppression. But what we know is that freedom is never free. It requires sacrifice. So 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ laid down his life on a cross for us so that we could live. And we have been called to freedom. So the Apostle John says it this way: "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." So let's put all of these ideas together. We want to be disciples, followers, learners, and we want to seek truth. We know that it's the most important thing that we will do, and we know that that truth will set us free. Our third picture is a 3-legged stool. And if you've ever sat on a 3-legged stool where one of the legs is shorter than the others or a little bit weak, you know that it makes the whole stool wobbly. And you kind of wonder, is it going to hold me up while I'm sitting on it? This 3-legged stool represents the partnership between a parent, a student, and a director. So let's start with parents. The parent is the teacher. The parent is going to walk through this challenge guide and determine which assignments their students are going to do and how they're going to assess them. Students, you are the ones who get to carry out that work. And the heart and the effort that you give to your work is going to determine how far you go and how much fun you have in class. So my job as the director is to facilitate a great community experience where we can have rich conversations and vibrant debates, where we can wrestle through big ideas and be the iron that sharpens iron. So it's very important that all three of those people work together, and we're going to continue to work on that throughout the year. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 24 says it this way: let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works. And students, I just want to reiterate this, that you have people who love and care for you, who advocate for you, and want to see you become all that God has designed you to become. So partner with your parents, partner with me, and we're going to have a great year together. And finally, we have a picture of the number 2, because that's how many rules we're going to have in our class. So I suppose we could have rules about keeping all 4 legs of your chair on the floor, and raise your hand when you want to speak, and be kind to the people around you. But really, when you take all of those other rules and you boil them down, there really are only 2. So here they are: love God and love others. In Scripture, a scribe walks up to Jesus and says, which commandment is the greatest? And Jesus responds this way: the most important is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. Think about that. God has created you and fashioned and formed you with skills and gifts and talents. He's provided blessings for you and wants you to become all that He intends you to become. So if we're going to show love to God, the number one way we do that is with all our heart and with all our soul and with all our mind and all our strength. And that means that you got to bring your A game to challenge 1. You got to take advantage of every moment and every opportunity to learn more about who God is through His Word and His world. Because then, when we're loving God well, it feeds into the second rule. And, Jesus could have just stopped with 1. The scribe just asked him which is the greatest, but he continues on with a second command and says, the second is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. So think about how your actions affect the other people around you. If you're speaking and you're making snide comments about other people in the class, are you loving the people that God's blessed you with? If you are complaining about the assignments or about your parents or about your siblings, are you loving them well? So I really do believe that 2 rules, we can have a fantastic year together, but we're going to focus on this, and we're going to work on this, and we're going to be that iron that sharpens iron so that we can truly love God and love others well. So let's review. 1461 reminds us that the time is short, so let's make the most of every opportunity. Our firework reminds us that our goal is freedom, and the way we get there is through discipline. That 3-legged stool reminds us of the blessing of our 3-way partnership between a parent and a student and director. So let's encourage each other in this adventure this year. And last but not least, our number 2 reminds us of the 2 greatest commandments: to love God and love others. It's going to be a great year in Challenge 1, and I can't wait to get started. I'll see you soon.